Hi everyone, I'm Mackayla, and today on the Soundtrack of Our Lives podcast, we have Chloe Mayse. She's going to talk about her new single, High School, which recently came out. So, can you talk a little bit about how that song has been received?
Yeah, so High School has been received really well. I purposely wanted to promote it during Pride Month because it's like my coming out song,
Mhm.
and it really helped also having a music video this time with one of my singles. Yeah, everyone's saying they love the music video, and I'm glad a lot of people are listening to it.
What was it like kind of putting the story of your coming out there for everybody to hear?
Well, it was interesting because I've been out for a while, so it was kind of nostalgic just looking back at the time where I was in high school and I was a
Mhm.
teenager, and I was very closeted because I was also in an all-girls Catholic school. So yeah, very interesting experience. And there was obviously being in an all-girls Catholic school, a lot of gossip, but yeah, putting it together, it felt very nostalgic. I felt like I had more of the language now to unpack those emotions for
Mhm.
sure. And yeah, nostalgia is the perfect way to explain it. Also a little bit torturing at times, but that's why I wrote the lyrics in a way where, I was just fixated on the girl that I was in love with, and I did feel very alone. But yeah, at the end of the song, it's kind of like I am relieved to tell that person.
Mhm. So, if you could go back and give your 15-year-old self advice, what would you say?
I would say there's nothing to be afraid of. That's easier said than done for sure. I think the most fearful part I had was honestly telling a good friend of mine how I felt more than
Mhm.
coming out to the rest of the school, because you're always afraid if you like someone that's really close to you, whether it's just a friend or whoever, you're afraid, oh, that friendship's going to go away. And honestly, if someone's really cares about you and is like true to you, they're gonna stick around. Like we're still friends to this day, which
Yeah.
is great. Yeah, they live in another country, but we still keep in touch, and they were very understanding about it. So just don't be afraid to tell your feelings, but do it on your
Mhm.
own time for sure.
Yeah. What was their reaction to the song?
Their reaction, so I did give them a heads up. Basically they loved it. They were always a fan of, like, when I was in high school, I wrote some songs and I posted it a bit online. I used like my regular name, but they were always like a number one fan of mine. So
Mhm.
when I showed them High School, they said they were super proud of me. They liked how, like, I used our story, even though the outcome was different.
Mhm.
We didn't end up dating, but they loved how I used our story as a way to reach people that may be in the same situation or feel that way, to be more comfortable with themselves.
Yeah, that's awesome that they reacted so positively.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great.
And then, so you made a music video for this single. What was that process of making the music video like?
Well, it was my first time doing like a proper music video. My girlfriend and I, we did one before, but it was just, like basic handheld camera type of
Mhm.
stuff. So this time with the proper production, it was really fun. I kind of had to navigate it on my own. So like really having a bunch of ideas, and then the hardest part was finding a videographer because I'm
Mhm.
also funding everything myself. So
Yeah.
finding a videographer to work with within my budget, I actually reached out to a makeup artist that I had a photo shoot with before, and she had a bunch of contacts. So it was a really fun process. And even the girl that plays my love interest in it is my partner's best friend.
That's
So
fun.
yeah, there was a lot of it was we were comfortable with everyone because we knew everyone, but it was
Mhm.
also everyone gave their 100% because they were just supporting me. And that was awesome. It was a really fun experience. I would love to do a music video again with the same videographer too. Like
Mhm.
he has amazing ideas.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite part of making it?
I would say my favorite part, we actually did it in like 2 days. So I think the thing that gets most people's attention is honestly the background, like installation shots. Like
Mhm.
that was his idea, to kind of just do one location and have all the projector shots going. So just kind of sifting through those were really fun. My partner's an actor, but I'm not an actor. So the acting parts were a little nerve-wracking.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean that stuff was a little nerve-wracking, but yeah, I would say just going through the projections and seeing it really come together was really fun.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I very much like how it's done.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I feel like I would also be nervous to do acting in a music video because I'm not, and like I can understand how terrifying that would be. And I don't know if, I mean, I'm not a musician, but I don't know if I would be able to overcome that for a music video.
Yeah. I know. I feel like it's something like basically I knew it was coming because I've had a few songs out now and I've kind of always avoided doing the music video,
Hmm.
especially the ones where it's like they're doing the close-up shots of you lip syncing or like actually singing because I was like that's why we made a video where it was more like my partner's best friend like dancing and
Hmm.
doing that stuff because we did get some shots of me up close lip syncing, but you could tell I'm not super comfortable around it. Like I'm definitely not an actor. And yeah, it was hard to get through those points. And even people in the background on set were like, smile, like don't be so serious. So definitely took a few takes to do that.
So, if or when you do music videos in the future, are you going to avoid acting or are you going to try and kind of get more comfortable with it?
I'm gonna try and get more comfortable with it. Like even myself, I haven't done a lot of performances, and like I do love performing. I think I just have to put more time into organizing shows and stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, I want to get more comfortable with it because I love the creative process and I really want to see my vision come to life. But I also think people need to see a face behind the music for
Yeah.
sure. And so like this one was very artistic and I would love to do another artistic, style music video, not a typical music video where
Hmm.
I'm just performing. But yeah, I do think I'm gonna incorporate more of myself into it as time goes on.
That's awesome. You're kind of getting rid of over those fears of it.
Yeah, I feel like you have to, and I think honestly it's going to help my stage performance as well.
Makes
Just getting
sense.
getting used to that attention.
Yeah, so you mentioned a little bit about like live performances. How do you prepare for a live performance?
Well, I honestly haven't even performed these songs yet.
Okay.
So, I've done so I'm from Toronto, Canada. I've done like open mic nights and stuff, but I haven't performed any of my original songs. So, I'm working on that right now. I do really want to get like a band together
Hmm.
and perform because like I'll practice the songs in my apartment on electric guitar or acoustic guitar
Hmm.
and have like the background track, but it's just not the same because most of the instruments on my tracks are live, so
Okay.
like you need to have live drums happening, you need to have someone on keys,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I'm just trying to sort that out right now, but I would love to be able to perform with a live band.
Hmm. That's exciting that you're sorting it all out.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah, no,
mentioned
it's
that
fun.
all, oh, sorry, what did you say?
No, I said no, it's fun, like trying to figure out all the logistics of everything.
Yeah, I feel like people don't always understand the logistics that go into planning something like this. They're just kind of like, oh yeah, my favorite band just shows up and plays. Like it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it takes a long time. It takes months, rehearsals, especially like it's funny when you're in the studio and you record a great song with all these parts, you realize, oh shit, like I have to actually I have to figure out how am I gonna put all these parts into a live show.
Yeah.
And so that's the tricky part. Sometimes you can't always do all the little tracks included, but I think for the most part I can with my tracks I can.
Hmm. Yeah, so you mentioned that all of the instruments are recorded live. So what was the decision process in terms of using the live recordings?
I think like honestly my references, so I'm a huge fan of Billie Eilish and her brother, like her
Hmm.
brother's producing is amazing. He's worked on other tracks other than Billie's stuff. And I've used examples as like Renee Rapp as well, some Fletcher songs. So I think my references really showed like what live instruments can do.
Hmm.
Because even though like with Billie Eilish, you hear beats in the background. A lot of the instruments are live.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the drums are live and guitar parts, bass. So like yeah, most of the instruments are live. And I think that's what I love about it.
Hmm.
You definitely can replicate drums and stuff, but it depends what kind of music you want to make.
Yeah. So you mentioned some of your references. So are those also some of your biggest influences on your music, or does it differ?
Um, yeah, no, influences like I was gonna say Tegan and Sarah have always been an influence of mine. Basically artists that I look up to that I would love to have a career similar to.
Hmm.
But for this song specifically, I didn't really use any of their songs as a reference. But Billie Eilish and Phineas, they're an influence because I just love how they started the career.
Hmm.
I love how they continue to grow, but also keep their foundation pretty much the same, like working together. And yeah, no, I would like basically they are a huge influence. And I think
Hmm.
Renee Rapp too. Like I really look out for queer artists to listen to.
Yeah.
And Fletcher, same thing. Amazing.
Yeah. So there's some really amazing influences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you mentioned Tegan
Thanks.
and Sarah, and you've also you opened for them, right?
So I sang backup for them
Backup.
when
Okay.
they had their big album come out,
Hmm.
Heartthrob. The song Closer was huge. So they were that song Closer, where it was like the pop album. They were performing at award shows. They were winning a bunch of awards and doing world tours that pop artists do.
Hmm.
And yeah, basically they knew they were probably going to win a lot of awards at the Junos. So they decided to have a bunch of singers. So like they did a singing competition of who could sing their song Closer within a minute, but also how many views you got, everything on
Hmm.
YouTube. And so I won that. And there was probably about, I would say 15, 20 of us back, like singing backup as a choir for them,
Hmm.
which was really cool. So yeah, that was an amazing experience. We were in Winnipeg. It was freezing in the middle of winter, but yeah, just getting to talk to them, do the rehearsals with them, seeing all the production behind an award show was amazing, getting to
Hmm.
experience that.
Yeah. Hopefully someday you can experience it as the main artist.
Yeah, I would love that. That would be amazing.
Yeah, so you've mentioned kind of obviously this high school is your coming out song, and then you've kind of follow other queer artists. What, because it is Pride Month, what would you say to young queer artists? What advice would you give?
I would say for young queer artists, I think artists are already doing this already, but to not feel censored at all. I
Mhm.
think, especially in a time with politics, it's really important right now to say what you feel. And a lot of people, even if you think you feel alone or you feel embarrassed about what you want to share, there's going to be someone out there that relates to it, no
Mhm.
matter what. Whether they're queer, whether they're, straight, it doesn't matter. Like anyone, I'm sure, can relate to a love song at some point in their life. And yeah, I think just feeling confident enough, obviously don't force it, but feeling confident enough to share how you feel is what's going to make you make great music. And that's what I came to the realization too. When I first wrote songs as a young teenager, like I didn't use pronouns because I was trying to still keep it a secret, but then
Mhm.
eventually I was like she because I was just talking about a girl that I liked.
Yeah. And I feel like the thing about music is even if it's a love song, you can sing it to your best friend because that is a kind of love. And I think that sometimes
Yeah.
people don't understand that the pronouns don't necessarily matter because
Hmm.
everybody has female, male, non-binary people in their life that they love. And a love song doesn't necessarily have to be romantic love.
Exactly. Like I could say I've written songs about love when it comes to my parents, when it comes to a friend that, there's no romantic feelings towards. Like
Mhm.
I've written about love in various ways. And I mean, love could be in any type of relationship.
Yeah. I think sometimes people forget about that. Also, like as listeners, you hear a love song and it's like, oh, it's about this romantic person. But not necessarily. Love is just, it can be for everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Have you done anything fun to celebrate Pride Month aside from the release of your song?
So actually in Toronto, basically next weekend is like the kind of last weekend of Pride.
Hmm.
So we have quite a few events that we're going to. My partner and I, we're going to Candyland, which is a pool party in the evening. Then I'm going to see a like DJ electronic set on Sunday that weekend where it's like more Latino artists, which
Hmm.
I mean, my one of my friends loves that kind of music, and there's going to be some soca music. So I try to go to events where I honestly listen to all types of music. It's not just pop music. And what's nice too is I'm part of a queer soccer league. So
Oh,
queer,
fun.
yeah, a queer soccer league called Pink Turf. So I play soccer throughout the whole summer. And it's awesome to just be like part of the queer community. We all hang out together, and it's my second year, so familiar faces.
That's fun. That sounds very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's especially getting older, like it's great to get back into sports. If you ever played sports, just having that sense of community, because I also work from home and it was just
Hmm.
nice. I was like, I need to socialize with other people.
Yeah, I guess if you're working from home and then you're also an artist, those are very things that are isolating. How do you make sure that you're taking time to not isolate yourself?
Um, so like I said, doing soccer in the summer, in the winter, especially in Canada, it can get really cold. So I was part of a queer women's basketball league. So I, at least once or twice a week, I was filling my time with sports. Also, like I try to hang out with friends once a week
Hmm.
outside of, the leagues and stuff, and just visiting my family. My parents live close by. I think if you kind of keep having a schedule where you're socializing a little bit, and then all the little spurts of, going to an event with friends or seeing family every once in a while in between, your weeks get pretty filled up.
Hmm.
And I feel like I have enough amount of socializing.
That's good.
Yeah.
So when you are writing a new song, what does that process typically look like for you?
So it's been different, but I would say the most consistent method that I have is usually I will be playing my acoustic guitar if I just pick it up and I figure out a melody. Then once I have like a pretty melody down, I'll just write in a notebook like what's something I want to write about, or what am I thinking about or have been thinking about in the
Hmm.
past month. And then from there, I just kind of do the spider web of words that I want to use, scenarios that I could picture in my head, kind of like movie type scenarios if it was
Hmm.
a romantic thing. Yeah, basically that's what I do. And then I while I'm playing the guitar, sometimes I have to like write down the lyrics that I'm saying really quickly after, because I'll just start singing words and I somehow string a sentence together that sounds really good. And I always have so many voice memos, like voice recordings in my
Hmm.
iPhone, because there's been many times where I've like sang a chorus and then run right into a verse, and I completely forgot it, completely lost it, because I'm just like closing my eyes singing.
Hmm.
So yeah, just having a lot of voice memos. But that's usually how it works, playing with the instruments and then coming up with lyrics. But then there's been times where I've been woken up in the middle of the night because I've had a dream and there's just been like a lyric that I've just keeps playing in my head type of thing. So then I'll wake up and I'll make sure to write it down and even sing it in my phone,
Hmm.
and I'll figure out the instruments after. So it really depends, but usually it's me spending more time on guitar or piano.
How do you approach challenges or creative blocks when they come up?
So actually, when I was a teenager, I wrote for a while, and then after high school, I had a creative block for years.
Hmm.
And now what happens is a lot of the times, if I do have creative blocks, I just start trying to find different artists to listen to.
Hmm.
I even try to cover songs that I like, because I would say my specialized instrument is vocals, right? So
Mhm.
just covering a song, seeing how that feels with my voice, like how the artist sings a different way, kind of inspires me as well. And when I'm playing other people's songs on guitar or piano, I feel like I gain the inspiration to write it
Mhm.
again. I may not write about the same thing of what the song I'm singing about as a cover, but I gained the inspiration of how I'd want a song to sound. And yeah, I think just immersing yourself in music in any way, like whether you're listening to new artists, whether you're doing covers, performing, I think that's a way to get over the block.
Mhm. And are there any particular covers that you find yourself coming back to?
Ooh, that's a good question. No, I haven't. I actually haven't. When I do a cover, I usually like honestly learn it in maybe an hour,
Mhm.
like pretty quickly, because it's also like if it's a song that I really like, maybe I've just heard it in the last few days, so I have to remember the lyrics. Have to remember the lyrics and then, figure out how to play it. So I don't usually come back to them. That's a good question. But I'm really into like Chapel Roan right now. I've been into Fletcher for a while, and her last album that she came out with this year is like pretty heavy, like rock guitar, like just regular like pop rock guitar
Mhm.
stuff. So I've been kind of like going towards those songs.
Okay. That's
Hmm.
fun. That I like that you're doing a different one each time.
Yeah, it's never really like the same artist. I think for a while, like with Billie Eilish's last album, I did a few of those in a row
Mhm.
because it was like easy to play on, on acoustic. But like even I've listened to her album this time and it's amazing, but it would be very hard like you can replicate it on guitar,
Mhm.
but it's very hard because she also like did more of a dance sound too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I also noticed I tried to cover songs that have more ballads as well. So Renee Rapp's a good example.
Is there any particular reason that you're drawn to songs with more ballads?
I think because I just like singing more. Like I love playing acoustic guitar, but guitar for me is just, a tool to be able to write songs.
Mhm.
I'm not a guitarist for sure. It was the first instrument I picked up and learned how to play, but yeah, I just use it as a tool. And the same with keyboard and ukulele and all those other instruments. They're just tools, but
Mhm.
I would never like be in a band and just be playing guitar because I don't think I'm at that level.
Maybe someday.
Maybe, who knows? I mean, the more you play, the better you get, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What is the best piece of advice you've received for your career?
The best piece of advice I've received so far is to just keep releasing music.
Mhm.
Like, I'm an unsigned artist. I've honestly only been at this for a couple years, like taking it seriously. And so, yeah, I came out as like a COVID artist. So just consistently releasing songs because it can get expensive, especially if you're not signed to a label.
Yeah.
But people's attention spans are very short now.
Mhm.
So, like, so far, what I've been doing in the last 3 years is I come out with a song every year, but I think I need to ramp it up and at least do two. And, if you are only going to do one song, like making sure on social media that you're promoting it and reminding people that you have a track out
Mhm.
or that's been out. And like I would say, yeah, like people just keep telling me just keep releasing songs and it's going to reach the right people. And I've had
Yeah.
people reach out, and even like within my first year of taking music seriously, I was able to get a grant from the federal government, which allowed me to make more music. And it was a pretty large grant as well.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I was shocked myself. I was like, I did all the paperwork and I had another artist help me do the paperwork, but I was just shocked. I was like, oh my God, they're like basically funding a EP album.
That's exciting. That must have
Yeah.
felt really amazing to receive that.
Yeah, like it gave me validation as an artist because I know there's so many people that are amazing at what they do, and it is a hard business to get into
Mhm.
because a lot of it you can have the talent, you can have the skill, but a lot of it is sometimes who you know and luck. Like
Yeah.
a lot of it can be luck and timing.
Which is unfortunate because there's so many people out there that are amazing, but it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, no, it's really hard. It's like I've been unsigned for 3 years now. And the thing is for myself too, I also have a day job. Like this is
Hmm.
just something I do on the side. It's my passion for
Yeah.
sure, but I do something else to, fund living.
Yeah. It's important.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like paying my rent and everything. So, but I know people that like most artists that I know, they're just an artist.
Hmm.
They might have like a part-time coffee shop job or whatever, but like they don't have a full career on the other end of it too.
Yeah.
And I would say like I do work hard and I do spend a lot of time in music, but for people that just are musicians and artists, like it must be really, really hard to keep going,
Hmm.
especially if you're constantly just paying for it yourself. I can't imagine how difficult that is too.
Yeah. I feel like that'd be very stressful too, just watching the bills come in.
Exactly. That's why they say starving artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, but it is true.
Yeah. So what would you say was the most surprising or the thing that it kind of you didn't expect when you kind of started being an artist 3 years ago?
I didn't expect how fast it would snowball
Hmm.
because my partner's an actor. And when I first met them, basically they were a child actor as well. So,
Hmm.
you had to do the singing, the dancing,
Yeah.
and the acting. And they were going to vocal lessons in Toronto. And I had told them that I used to play music. And basically, I stopped once I got into college and university because I was just career focused in
Hmm.
education and stuff. And they convinced me to do vocal lessons for fun.
Yeah.
And so I did that for a couple years because I never had professional vocal lessons. And it was amazing. Like I really enjoyed it. But then eventually I got to, sing songs and work on songs that I was listening to. And my vocal coach, like she used to tour with Pink. She used to
Oh.
play keys and guitar for Pink. So just hearing her experiences were amazing. But
Hmm.
yeah, it started from vocal lessons for fun, and then all of a sudden I met people through that school. I did a workshop for songwriting, and the web of connections just kept getting bigger, and then I was
Hmm.
getting grant money. I was able to record in LA. It got really fast. Yeah, and I would say that's like in the last 4 years, something like that. Like, yeah, the first couple years was just vocal lessons, and yeah, the last 2 years has been releasing music. Yeah, so I know, and even my girlfriend has said, like, for most people, it's different because they're an actor, but for most people, like,
Hmm.
it takes much longer to get things going.
Yeah, but like you said before, it's kind of just all about luck and timing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess you
And
got lucky.
I got lucky and I met the right people. I think that's what it is too.
Yeah.
And every time I go out to LA to record, it's like my favorite place to record because there's so many producers that you can work with. And I have like a good, like, there's specifically two producers I work with, and they didn't record my first release, but the last couple songs I've released, I've worked with them and we're buddies. And I just love working with them. And yeah, every time I go out there, I make new connections. I meet new people that I would love to work with someday or even just be friends with. So it's
Hmm.
nice to kind of build that support system there.
Yeah. I mean, it's always very important to have a support system in whatever you're doing in life.
Yeah, and you know what? I heard like when people first were warning me, they're like, "You want to record in LA? Like that's the market. That's the big
Hmm.
market." And I mean, every even in acting, like my girlfriend has been told, like, "I don't know if you're gonna like LA." Like it's very intimidating. That's what the feeling I got from it. And then once I broke into it, I was like, I love it. I love it. I'm learning from so many creative people
Hmm.
and it's a great place. Yeah.
Yeah. How would you say your music and your songwriting has evolved from where you started to where you are now?
I think it's evolved um because I've been able to write songs, like specifically last year. I was able to write songs that weren't just about romantic love.
Mhm.
There's a song I haven't released yet, but it's very personal, but it's a different kind of relationship to love that I have. And even writing like my coming out song, yes, there's a girl involved with it, but even becoming more vulnerable to how I felt at the time
Mhm.
is something that I don't know if I would have been able to write years ago. So
Mhm.
just becoming more vulnerable, using more, like I'm also, I never was a big reader, but I'm trying to read more novels so
Mhm.
I can get better at using, more advanced language in writing and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm always
And
constantly looking at a glossary. If I am writing a lyric and I find a word is too simple, I'm like, okay, let's look at the glossary and see what else I can can replace. Yeah.
any good books you've read recently?
Yeah, I've been reading a lot of queer novels actually. So one of them I just read was, there's this book that's kind of cool. It's called Moby Dyke, I believe. And it's basically a couple that goes around the US and they visit all the lesbian bars in the US that are still around.
Mhm.
And they kind of just like they get to know the owners and like the history of the places because a lot of them were closed down,
Yeah.
yeah, throughout the years. So there's not many left, but they go from state to state to state, and that's pretty cool.
That sounds cool. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, because it's like it's just a fun road trip, and I think one of them in the book is actually like a journalist or something.
Mhm.
Um, and their partner is trans, but just like hearing the stories of how those places used to be and like how they first opened as a bar, and like
Mhm.
some of the bars I've heard about like in New York, but a lot of them, like I would have never guessed
Mhm.
like that there would be even a lesbian bar there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you mentioned some unreleased music. Do you have any plans for upcoming releases this year?
Yeah, so I just released High School, but I think the one that I was talking about, that's just a different kind of love.
Mhm.
I don't know if I would do a music video for it just because it's so personal and I don't think I could even act in it. Like if I were to do a music video, it'd be very artsy, very
Mhm.
like visual, but I would love to release that song this year. I've had it written since last year, but yeah, I would love to release it this year and see what people think about it. It kind of reminds me of like a B-side song. So if I release it, I would definitely love the publicity, but it's just such a vulnerable song. I think it's the most vulnerable I've ever been, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, so before I ask the last question, was there anything else that you wanted to mention or talk about today?
I would say like, yeah, just watch the music video. I know I've seen a lot of people listen to my song on Spotify, which is amazing, and
Mhm.
even SoundCloud, but I would love for people to watch the music video on YouTube. I think we worked really hard at it. It's really cute. And like even leave comments down below. I would love to hear what people think as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you could check that out on YouTube.
Okay. So the last question is, what is the soundtrack of your life?
Ooh, the soundtrack of my life. I the song that, I don't know if it's the soundtrack of my life, but the song that always kind of makes me like reminisce is like the King Princess like 1950s
Mhm.
song, like I think, or even Cigarette Daydreams.
Okay.
That always brings me back to certain memories.
Yeah. Okay. So for our listeners to stay updated on you and then find you on YouTube, what are your socials?
Yeah, so Instagram, it's at Chloe Mayse official. The same with TikTok. YouTube, you can find me on Chloe Mayse as well. And
Awesome.
on YouTube, I'll post covers, but I would say I'm most active on Instagram.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and talking to me today.
Thanks, Mackayla.
Have a nice rest of your day.
You too. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Everyone, go check her out and make sure to watch the music video on YouTube and then subscribe and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at STO Lives Podcast. Thanks for joining us.